Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Unathletic Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. And I also want to thank everyone for tuning in on last week for our debut episode. Thank you for all your support, all the likes, all the subscribers. Continue to like, share, subscribe, and comment on the videos. I do want to interact with my audience, and so I actually, I encourage you to like, share, subscribe, comment, because I do want to interact with you all. I like to interact with the audience, so if you have any commentary, if you have any disagreements or arguments with my opinions and thoughts in these videos, go ahead and put them in the comments section, and I will happily interact with you all right? Again, I just want to say thank you for tuning in on today's episode. This is the second episode of my brand new podcast, The Unathletic, with CJ, yours truly. I am your host. And then also I want everyone to hit the notification button so you can stay tuned to all the content coming your way so that you don't miss out on anything that comes out on this channel. And then also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at CJ the Unathletic. All right. Now that we got the household business out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this episode on today. Today, I will be talking about the NBA playoffs. This is playoff talk, so we are going to discuss all of the series thus far in the playoffs. And I'm just going to let you guys know my thoughts and feelings on how the series have gone and who I have winning each series. And we are going to start in the Western Conference with the Phoenix-Dallas series, the Phoenix Suns versus the Dallas Mavericks. I do have the Phoenix Suns winning this series. Reason being is I believe Phoenix has the overall better roster, and I believe that they have the talent that on their roster, much deeper team. I believe that overall they have more guys who contribute on a more consistent basis. But what I will say, and I will put this out there, that as this series has gone along, I have become a little, I'm not going to say pessimistic about my pick, but I have been intrigued by what I've seen thus far. So far in this series, it seems that the home team has been the ones winning their home games, and then the road team has not. So like on each team, Phoenix and Dallas, they both have played better at home than they have on the road. I think that's just a bit of home cooking in the sense that the role players just have been producing better at home than on the road, and that does make the difference in playoffs, right? Stars show up all the time for the most part, and role players tend to play better at home as opposed to on the road. So right now, as it has been recorded and as we've seen thus far, Phoenix has played better at home, and they've went 2-0. Then Dallas went home for 2 games, and they went 2-2. And when they went back to Phoenix on Game 5, it was Phoenix who led the series. And then now for Game 6, they'll be back in Dallas, and it will be intriguing to see how that goes. So at this point of this recording, this Phoenix is leading the series 3-2. And so at this point in time, again, I still believe Phoenix wins this series because I believe the players around Luka are not as talented, nor are they as consistent of contributors as Phoenix's others on their roster outside of Chris Paul and Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. I also believe that in the case of the Dallas Mavericks, that because of the pattern that I've seen thus far in these playoffs, that each home team has won their games, Phoenix just simply has more home games. They have home court advantage, which is part of the reason why I'm looking at this and saying that Phoenix wins the series. All right. So now we're going to move on to the second series in the West in the semifinals, which is the Golden State Warriors versus the Memphis Grizzlies. I also have the Golden State Warriors winning the series. My reasons are based off of the fact from what I saw from Memphis in their first series of the playoffs against Minnesota, and it is also the fact that Memphis, being as young as they are and mistake prone as they are, and the Warriors just being a more veteran laden team and having the kind of playoff experience to overcome certain adversity throughout the playoffs and through this specific series, that I give the Golden State Warriors the leg up. Now, I will say this as someone who is in the television market and able to watch every game of the Warriors from the regular season into the postseason to now, that my biggest concern right now within this series is the fact that the Golden State Warriors offense has seemed to become very rigid. I do not like the fact that they consistently have decided to have Draymond come up the floor on every offensive possession and basically just be dead set on having him play make and play traffic cop and directing all of the action on the floor. Reason being is that within the playoffs, as most of us fans know, sports fans and casual fans as well, we all understand that teams make adjustments in the playoffs, right? We understand that at times, these teams, what they'll do is from game to game, because there are no back-to-backs and because there's no layoffs and there's no switching of opponents, they adjust. Like literally, they'll sit there and pick apart film and have the opportunity to figure out, okay, what do we adjust to? What do we do here when they run this play, that play, so on and so forth, right? And so I feel like with the Warriors, they keep throwing the same thing at Memphis, which is why Memphis' defense is pretty much kind of being given all the answers to the test, and then the Warriors are making mistakes. I also believe that the solution to that problem is that we throw some fluidity in there. And when I say fluidity, I mean sometimes you take Dre off the ball. Sometimes Dre isn't the one who is playing traffic cop and trying to set up the plays. You have Steph come up. You throw a little bit of pick and roll in there. Maybe you do a 1-2 pick and roll with Steph and Clay. Maybe you do a pick and roll with Dre and Steph. There has to be more fluidity to the offense. It cannot always be running down the court, giving the ball to Dre at the foul line or below the foul line. Again, directing traffic, having guys running around, running through brush screens and things of that nature, and forcing reads. That has been the problem, along with turnovers, which, again, Draymond, as the sole playmaker and running of the offense and running the offense through him, has led to many turnovers because reads are being forced, and instead of just going for what the defense is giving you, they're trying to force certain actions and force the ball to guys like Steph, Poole, or Clay. So I think that there just has to be more variety within the offense itself. I also think that we also have to take into consideration that maybe, we just try to slow down, because again, I think some of it too is that the Warriors are playing at Memphis's pace, which has hurt them to some degree. And I think that they have to do better at that. You have to set your pace and play at your pace so that you force your opponent to adjust to what you want to do instead of falling prey to what they are doing and what they are trying to force you into doing. All right, you guys, we're going to go to the Eastern Conference, and we're going to go to the Boston Celtics series versus the Milwaukee Bucks. And in that series, I also have Milwaukee winning that series. And that all just honestly comes down to Giannis Antetokounmpo and the greatness of Giannis Antetokounmpo. I believe, in my opinion, that although Milwaukee has Chris Middleton out of the lineup due to injury, I still believe that they have the opportunity to beat the Boston Celtics, who have been playing absolutely terrific in these playoffs, I must say. But I think that Giannis Antetokounmpo has the fortitude, and he's also been through enough adversity through his first championship season last year that he has the shoulders to carry this Milwaukee Bucks team past the Boston Celtics. But what I will say is that this happens to be one of the tougher series to predict as well, just because of what I've seen thus far from Boston. Boston has done an incredible job in, revamping themselves and kind of pulling themselves together from the regular season, becoming one of the best defensive teams in the NBA as of right now. Credit to Ime Udoka, who's done a great job pulling these guys together and having them play together on a string on defense, as well as just figuring out a way to have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum play effectively together on the floor. I give him all the much props and respect due to him. And I just believe that although Boston has played terrifically, I still got to give the edge to the Milwaukee Bucks, who are the reigning defending champions of the NBA. Again, I think that Milwaukee has the opportunity to win this series. And I also think one thing that hasn't been discussed enough, and I understand that he maybe not be as consistent on the offensive end, but Jrue Holiday has been excellent as well, in my opinion. His defense is underrated because a lot of people like to, focus on offense, but Jrue Holiday's defense has been crucial, especially in this series. He's made a couple of clutch defensive possessions. He's made defensive plays that have changed the outcome of a few of these games in this series, and it's also been the greatness of Giannis Antetokounmpo and what he's done. And so I just believe in my heart of hearts, and also in my brain and what I've been seeing, that Milwaukee will win this series. And at this point in time, Milwaukee is up in the series 3-2. Now, Philly and Miami, the next series, right? I did, at the start of this series, had Miami beating Philly due to Embiid being out with injury. But I will say that changed once Embiid came back and I saw what he did in games 3 and 4. And at this point in time during the recording, Miami does lead the series 3-2. But I do believe that Miami has kind of turned the momentum of the series in their favor. I do not like what I have seen from Philly in the sense that Embiid looks like he may have came back too early from his injury, but I respect the reason why, at least from a speculative point, right? I'm not being exact. I'm no expert. I don't cover any team at all. I don't have any kind of inside information, but just from what my 4 eyes could see, I believe that Joel Embiid came back too early from his orbital fracture injury. I also believe that James Harden isn't completely straight as far as his health. I don't think he's all the way back to being himself in this series, which is why I believe Miami closes it out. And to be honest, Jimmy Butler has been playing incredibly amazing. He's probably been the second best playoff performer thus far in these playoffs. It's been incredible to see what he's been doing throughout these playoffs. It reminds me of what he did in the bubble with Miami when they got to the finals that year. I just think it's been incredibly impressive, And so, at the end of the day, I believe that Miami has the opportunity to get back to the conference finals. Their role players have been way more consistent than Philly's in this series. Also, there's the fact that Jimmy Butler, again, has been playing out of his mind. And I think that with Philly just not being all the way there health-wise and the lack of consistency from other guys on their roster, I believe Miami wins out this series. So I would just want to say real quick, thank you all for tuning in on today's episode. I want to say that I am very appreciative of everyone's support for last week when I launched my first episode. And if you missed that episode, please go back and watch. It is on my channel, the Unathletic Podcast with CJ. Also, just to give a recap of that episode real quick, I just gave you guys a behind the scenes look of me as a fan and understanding how I look at sports. So that is what that first episode is all about. Go ahead and check it out. I have posted clips of the episode on my Instagram and Twitter. So follow me on Instagram and Twitter. And then please, again, like, share, and subscribe on this channel. And comment as well, because again, I do love to interact with my audience. So if you have any issues with my takes, comment below and I will respond and I will interact with you all. Tune in next week as we continue to discuss more topics across the sports landscape. Again, please like, share, subscribe, comment, and share this video and all content that I put out on my social media and on YouTube. Follow me on IG and Twitter at CJ the Unathletic. That is CJTheUNathletic. Again, that is CJTheUNathletic. Also hit the notification button so you don't miss out on any of the content from the Unathletic. Thank you all for tuning in. Peace.